I'm not a great fan of coloured inks. They're very variable in quality, and I think you should probably avoid Winsor & Newton coloured inks. They are transparent and waterproof, so they'll probably clog the pen, and you probably don't need the transparency. Daler makes a coloured ink called Cali, which are probably okay, although they're acrylic ink, and I haven't tried them, so I can't tell you. What I use is designer's gouache, and designer's gouache is a body colour which is opaque, so theoretically you could put a dark colour on, let it dry thoroughly, and put a light colour on top of it and not see the dark colour through it, but you'd have to get the consistency of the paint right before you could do that. So that is designer's gouache. The designer's gouache jet black, I have to say, is very good. If you mix it with water, you can use it through a pen, and it's lovely. It's much better than any of the black inks that Winsor & Newton produce. So that's gouache. So there's also watercolors. If you want a transparent color, these are cheap watercolors in a tube, so you just squeeze them out and mix them with water, or you could use watercolors in pans like this, which you mix up with water. You could also apply it through a pen if you wanted to use watercolors. Some people like using them because they're very delicate. I can't say I use them very much. Now, to mix up designer's gouache, you need first of all a palette. This is a little porcelain palette that I've got. I've got another one here which is a segmented palette. And by the way, always keep your palettes scrupulously clean, because cleanliness is next to godliness, of course, and it's wise to keep your tools and materials clean, particularly your nibs. Wash them in water and use a toothbrush to clean them. Now, when you mix this with water, use clean water. Don't you just use the dirty water that you've got in your your jar for rinsing your brushes. Use absolutely clean water. I've got this little Jif lemon, little plastic thing that's filled with water. I've had it for years, and it will always supply me with little drops of clean water. So first of all, put a little drop of, you see that? No, probably can't see it on the video, but there's usually glycerin on the top of the tube if it's been hanging around for a long time. This is the consistency that it comes out of the tube. Now you need to get it thinner in order to flow through a brush. So the first thing you do is just put a spot of water in, and I mean a spot. Don't put a lot of water, because what will happen is you get a big lump of paint and you'll just be chasing it around with your brush. So what I want to do is to just flatten that out, mix it. So I've thinned it down. It's not thin enough by any means yet, but it's getting there. So I think just one more drop might be sufficient. So go. And if you read the books, it says you need to mix gouache up to the consistency of single cream. So, you know, that flows. Maybe it's a little bit thick, maybe another drop. See what that's like. This is okay now, I think. This is about the consistency you want for it to flow through your pen nicely. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so that's designer's gouache. The other thing you can use for mixing is a mussel shell. If you happen to live near the sea, like I do, you can collect mussel shells for nothing off the beach and use them for mixing colours in, and then throw them away when you're finished with them, rather than cleaning them out. Also, I might say that if you go into an art shop, the cheap palettes are plastic. If you use a cheap plastic palette, you will find that it very quickly gets stained with the paint that you're mixing up in it. So I don't advise it. Porcelain palette, nicely. I've had this since I was about 16. Little porcelain palette, or even a small white china plate is good for mixing up on. But I like this little palette. We've grown up together, so that is colour. Oh yes, one small thing that I forgot to say, which I think is very useful advice, is that if you're mixing up a light colour, like for instance pink or pale blue, don't put the red in the palette and then add the white to it, because what will happen is you will find that you will need a bucket of white to shift the red to pink. What you must do is put the white into the palette first and then add the tiniest bit of red, see how it goes, add a tiny bit more, and then you'll end up with the quantity you want. I learned that the hard way when I was very young, but it's good advice, so bear it in mind. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye bye.